You know, I still play my Wii U. You could even say that I still Wii use it all the time. Yeah, okay. Hi, my name is Matt. I'm the one who crosses the line. This is an aesthetic analysis vlog, because this series is now going to be a vlog series, because one of the things that I've always wanted to achieve, two things in particular that I've always wanted to achieve with my channel, is to get my personality more out there and to get my actual self more out there, as opposed to just being a voice that's hiding behind some edited game footage or big video essay type points or anything like that. I am not the best academic source out there. I am not willing to be able to teach anyone. The only thing I feel that I can really teach is my perspective in life. And if you're wondering, that this is just pretty much going to be some background content of Wii U ads, a lot of the kiddie ones, a lot of the ones that people really mock. Because that's our subject for today. It's the idea that I'm still playing my Wii U, and I'm still really happy about it, and why I feel compelled to the idea that I shouldn't be like that because the Nintendo Switch is a thing. So the Wii U was a very weird hybrid console handheld type thing. Hardly even a handheld. It was really just, you have an HD game, but you can now put it on a smaller screen. Some games in particular would have asymmetric gameplay between the smaller screen and the bigger screen, which didn't end up being the Wii U's biggest strength. A lot of people really hated that. I just found it really cumbersome. It was really just a bigger Nintendo DS, like why even have the HD screen and then the smaller screen at the same time? But what I've always treasured about the Wii U is its off-TV play feature, the idea of being able to play entire games on the screen alone. And sure, it wasn't handheld. Sure, you weren't able to take it on the bus stop with you, or at school, or at an exotic location like in Las Vegas or anywhere in the universe like you can with the Nintendo Switch. You know, the Nintendo Switch is able to improve on things like that. It offered a better quality screen. It offered a more slim sort of build and look to be able to take it with you anywhere, and it has that capability of being able to being played on the TV and in handheld mode. But with the Wii U, you're really just restricted to a certain amount of meters, and it's always kind of fascinating that I can technically play this downstairs in my living room, like in the sofa bed that's just down there, which is where I usually go if this room becomes too, claustrophobic for me or anything like that. It can just barely reach my kitchen. So what I've been thinking is that the Wii U console, like not this thing, I know a lot of people advertise this thing as the console, which it isn't. It's actually a big black brick that's like over there, like tucked down in the corner somewhere. They don't really show it that often, but it's pretty much the key to actually being able to play on this thing in the first place, because it's pretty much a streaming device. So what I was thinking is that my console should probably be in the middle of my house, since my house has 3 levels, so that way it can reach both the bottom level if I were to ever go into my basement, which I'm going to eventually because I am going to be renovating it into a sort of studio for me to record and do a bunch of stuff in, and upstairs if I ever need to use it in my bedroom, or worst case scenario, the washroom, or whatever, stuff like that. I don't know, I just find it hilarious that it's really just at a certain amount of meters. I feel like a JoJo stand user. You must be 20 to 30 meters within the Wii U's range in order to use it and throw a million punches with it or whatever. But that's one of the things of why I'm still, really stuck to my Wii U at the moment. Because what really amazes me is just how often I see pictures of dusty Wii U's, like Wii U's just covered in dust because no one bothers to touch it anymore. And because of the new Smash Brothers announcement and all of the announcements coming for the new console, the Nintendo Switch, people are essentially throwing out all of their Wii U stuff. I can understand like the gamepad and the console itself because those are the main things, but the controllers too? Like I always see people throwing out their Wii U stuff, and I just wonder, just because the Nintendo Switch is getting Wii U ports and getting better version of those, could we really go out of our way to throw this entire thing? Is it truly a replacement? In my case, not necessarily. It's really more of a combo for me. I like having the Switch and the Wii U together. And I think one of the things that people seem to forget is that the Wii U is technically Nintendo's last backwards compatible Nintendo system that goes back to everything before it. You can play the Wii games if you homebrew it, which is something I recommend if you have an old console lying around. You know, just homebrew it, so then you'll be able to get the most out of your system if you feel like you don't have any use for it anymore. You know, if you homebrew, you're able to play GameCube games, you're able to play Super Nintendo, NES, Game Boy Advance games, one of my favorite systems. You're able to play those, and even stuff like the Sega Genesis, Neo Geo games, and arcade games. I even think that the homebrew scene is doing a PS1 emulator, which is kind of nuts for me. So I really view the Wii U as this sort of multi-platform ultimate Nintendo console because it's pretty much backwards compatible with everything Nintendo has before. The Switch is kind of its new frontier. It's only compatible with Switch exclusive games, Switch exclusive accessories. You know, I had to buy new Joy-Cons for it. I couldn't use my Wii remotes, which is one thing I was happy about when I got my Wii U, is that I was able to use Wii remotes on it because I had a Wii, and controllers had no problem with that whatsoever. I could even use my classic controllers on the freaking thing. So that's why I still keep it around, because it's still a good source of Nintendo's past history, because I do want to be able to play those retro games, and to be perfectly honest, it makes the library that much bigger for me. Not only because the Wii U has one of my favorite libraries of all time of games, just HD versions of Nintendo's biggest icons, which is another thing that I think a lot of people overlook. The Wii U was Nintendo's first HD console. This was the first time we saw freaking Mario in HD, and Yarn Yoshi in HD. It was incredible. Donkey Kong in HD and all of that stuff. It was really amazing, especially the Zelda remakes. They got the HD treatment. Wind Waker, one of the best looking remakes out there. It was incredible, and it didn't compromise anything. It made it into a high definition Wind Waker, but added all the bloomy stuff, but not too much because it's not something that I particularly prefer. But it kept the art style really good and made it into a modern version of it, which is something the Wii U did well with its game library. It took all these classic franchises and even stuff from the 3DS and sort of hyper modernized it to make it a lot more clean. Games look really colorful and bright on the Wii U. And you have to remember the time it was out. In a time where a lot of games, to be honest to me, if you were to ask me, they were pretty boring. I hardly couldn't remember a lot of bright stuff out there. So to see stuff like Super Mario 3D World, which is one of my favorite aesthetically pleasing Mario games out there. Like when I think of a Mario world, this and even New Super Mario Bros. U is what I think about. And besides from the sheer novelty of it and the fact that it is a source of Nintendo's past history, I just find a lot of amusement in sort of the small things about it. The main aesthetic that I want to highlight here is the idea of not just being able to play games on the gamepad itself, but just the way that I usually use it in my daily lifestyle. So usually I'll have my monitor with me up here, and it's playing stuff like videos or shows that I'm currently watching, or I'm working on like a Word document or something for school, or I'm on a voice chat and I just want to see if people are texting or sending images to me. So I'll usually have that up on the TV. And you would think with the Wii U, you would just be forced to be stuck to the TV, like a lot of consoles, which is honestly why I don't really get that sort of urge to play consoles entirely anymore. Like I did get a PS3 for like $50 because it was a steal. So I only really got it to be able to catch up to that last generations of games that I missed, which I'm grateful for. But again, I don't really get that sensation of being able to just pick up and play it because I really have to go out of my way to set up the TV and, I don't know, be able to look at a high definition experience as if you're watching a movie, you know, like you're experiencing an event. There's a bit of a extreme for both of those kinds of gaming where you treat it like a movie where you're spectating it and you're making yourself comfy to be ready to experience your 40-hour adventure, something like that. And the other kind where it's really lazy, where you just kind of play the game on sort of autopilot, where you're just doing it for farming or you're doing it to get checklists done, you're just getting stuff done, and it feels like chores. And I experienced both of those kinds of extremes. I used to get that kind of excitement of just being able to prop my game up on top of a magnificent TV and be able to sit down on it. The problem is that I don't have time particularly anymore. And because of that, I also experience that other extreme. When I see a lot of my friends, just play Overwatch or Paladins or League of Legends or anything on the side, which isn't necessarily bad, it's just not really my type of thing. So I kind of like to have a bit of an in-between, which is something the Switch and mainly the Wii U has been able to do for me, to be able to experience the game as I want it on the screen, but to also be able to pick up and play it easily enough that I don't have to go out of my way to purely experience the game. And sorry, I'm spitting. I'm currently taking sort of a cough drop right now. I just got out of a fever from last weekend, freaking nausea of all things, which is why I felt compelled to make a video in the first place, because I haven't done this kind of thing in a while, and I want to treat these videos more like vlogs, where I'm kind of giving you a sort of screenshot of my current position in life and how I'm currently feeling about things, which is something that I've always had the hardest time doing when it comes to scripting or editing, because I always feel like a static voice that has to give out gaming facts or gaming reviews or formats or anything like that. But I don't know, I want to feel a lot more comfortable to be able to talk about just about anything, which is why I'm talking about the Wii U of all things. So I guess the last things I really want to touch upon are just sort of the more hilarious little things that really make the Wii U just such a dumb little pleasure to me. So one of the first Wii U games I was able to get was Assassin's Creed 3. And this was my first Assassin's Creed game, and for that matter, it was my first sort of real modern game, like from something that wasn't Nintendo, because in my case, I was only stuck with Nintendo consoles. And if you ask me, as someone who had to experience Nintendo consoles from like someone from my cousins or someone that I know from a friend, you know how you play the next big console with a friend that you know, I was always stuck with Nintendo handhelds, which is why I'm near and dear to my Game Boy Advance and my Nintendo DS, which is why I also kind of grew out of my 3DS, because now I have actual consoles with me. So I never got to experience stuff like Assassin's Creed or Batman Arkham City or those big budget games and stuff like that. And before, when the Wii U came out and those games came out, I was happy to be able to play those kind of games for once, but now that I look at it, I'm just thinking to myself, the idea of playing a last generation game like Assassin's Creed 3 on a Nintendo console that also has the ability to be played on a condensed version, a 480p screen of an HD game condensed into something like this that is made specifically for a Wii U gamepad, which doesn't really feel like a Samsung tablet or an Apple tablet. It's not this aesthetically pleasing sort of modern device. It's a freaking game controller with a screen smashed on top of it, and you can play Assassin's Creed 3 freely that way while you're on the well, not on the bus, while you're in bed, or while you're on the couch, or while you're just doing something else. That kind of novelty is just something really funny to me. I just find something endlessly endearing about that, which is why I'm still really stuck to my Wii U. I love playing those indie games. I love playing the third-party stuff on something so novel and cute. Yeah, that's what I would really describe the Wii U. Even with all of its shortcomings, you may think of it as dumb, I find it really adorable. It's just cute. The Wii U is just an adorable console. The Switch pretty much improves a lot of what the Wii U has done and has failed to do in terms of its shortcomings. It has fixed a lot of that, making it, of course, obviously, if you think of it objectively, it's a superior console because it has everything right going for it. But for me, it's just missing the complete library. The Wii U's lifespan is done. All the games that are going to be out for it are already here, and for that matter, you can homebrew it to get anything you want in here, which is why I've been playing pretty much everything in this more so than my Switch, because it just has a bigger library of stuff that I do want to play currently. I wanted to be able to play GameCube games. I wanted to get into Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, a game that I never would have thought I would have been able to play in my childhood, because I would only be able to see my cousins play it on their GameCube, and in my case, I would have to resort to watching YouTube videos of people playing City Escape and Green Forest, and I'd be like, wow, I wish I could play that game someday. And then to be able to actually play it on a Wii U gamepad in a small screen like this, where you get to manipulate it like that and have the perspective of yourself. you know, I find screens like really fascinating. I do want to cover that at some point. And Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, I was actually able to do not just the main levels, but also the side missions. I've had time to do that, and I've also invested time into the Chow Garden. I've raised my own little Chow, and I've been playing the game entirely on this thing alone. If I were to able to tell my childhood self that I'd be able to do something like that, that would really blow my mind back then. So it's why I have a bit of an attachment towards this thing, just to be able to experience all of Nintendo's past and the Wii U's excellence library on the gamepad alone. If you ask me, I also personally really like the shape of it too, more so than the Switch. The Switch is obviously better designed because it's meant to be lighter and you're able to take the Joy-Cons out, and it just looks a lot more presentable when you make it in commercials and stuff like that. I just find the shape of the gamepad to be a bit better on my hands because it has a bit of the grip over here on the side. This is why it could never pass as like an Apple tablet or like a slim looking thing. It's a bulky preschool sort of toy that was made for video games. And I guess that's one of the reasons why I can never really get into PC gaming, if I'm honest, because, I don't know, my PC, I'm looking at it right now, by the way. I just keep looking at it, and it keeps malfunctioning in a lot of scary, undetermined areas, and I always have to feel like I'm looking at it through life supports. Like, there's like umbilical cords attached to it and everything. It can only be supported through all of this stuff, and I never know when it will be broken. And not to mention it has all of my important documents for actual adulting shit and school and stuff like that. So, I don't know, the idea of having my games, which I mainly use for entertainment, to share the same space as something like that on an unstable system, it just doesn't bode well with me too much. I'd much rather have a console that is, you know, purely focused on games. It's just that when it comes to a console, I'm just personally lazy to be able to sit down and have like a movie-like spectacle experience, which is why I seldom really use my PS3, even though I technically should, because it has all the games that I really want. But with my Wii U, I'm perfectly fine with using something like that. It's a game controller, first and foremost. I mean, it does have like a TV function to be able to use it as like a remote, but no matter what, it's a game controller. It's mainly used for games. Games are meant to be outputted here. May not be the best resolution, not 720 or H20. It's not water. It's not 1080, not 4K. It's a good format, but I just find something endlessly interesting about games that are condensed into a format like the Wii U gamepad. And that's why I personally find a lot of joy in this kind of thing. And even when playing stuff like Wii games, the way you play Wii games on the Wii U gamepad is just hilarious. So you can't control Wii games from the gamepad itself, because Wii games obviously use the Wii remote to use the point sensor and the motion controls and stuff like that. You can't do that on the Wii U gamepad. It's not really easy to emulate. So what they do is that when you're playing Wii games on the Wii U gamepad, you use it as a mini TV. So you have to set it down somewhere and then take your, I don't have Wii remotes around me, but you take your Wii remote and you point it at the Wii U gamepad like you're playing a Wii game on a TV, but you're playing it on the gamepad itself. And what I find really hilarious about this is that the Wii gamepad, someone at Nintendo thought to make a sensor, a Wii remote pointer sensor on this thing. And to actually make that happen, like someone actually thought that people would be playing Wii games like this, to have it set down like a mini TV and just point at the gamepad thing, and it'll actually read the pointer. That is just hilarious. It's stuff like that that makes the Wii U like endearing to me. It's why it's a continuous part of my gaming lifestyle. It's why I still play it. It's why I still keep it as a combo with the Wii U and the Nintendo Switch. I still think that they complement each other because the Wii U has everything from Nintendo's past, the Switch is everything in Nintendo's future, and a bit of the Wii U whenever they do ports from the Wii U to the Nintendo Switch. Which is why I also feel that this video may be somewhat outdated, maybe in like 2 or 3 years from now, because eventually the Switch's library will grow. It will probably have a lot of the games that the Wii U does have on the Switch itself, so it could technically feel like a replacement But for the time being, I still find them to be a good complement. One of them is for Nintendo's past games and all the retro stuff to be able to be played on this thing alone. The Nintendo Switch is for all the modern stuff, and if I ever do want to take it to exotic locations like Vegas, or on the bus rides, or in the school library and stuff like that. But I mainly do use it for indie games, mostly, because not a lot of Nintendo stuff has really come out for it besides Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey. But the stuff that I'm mainly playing for my Wii U is stuff that is still sticking with me. I still play a lot of Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, WarioWare Inc. for the GBA. I've been playing Bayonetta's Wii U port. I know that there's a Switch port, but I just can't let go of the Wii U one because it's my freaking save file. All my hard work and sweat and tears playing one of my all-time favorite stylish games went into playing it on a smaller screen like this. And for some reason, I just can't let go of that. And even now, I'm currently playing Shovel Knight. I'm getting back into it again. I played it way back when, but since I'm kind of in the middle of exam period and also making videos and chatting with friends too, I mainly just play Shovel Knight on the screen itself, rather than outputting it on the TV, because to be honest with you, I'm just sort of lazy with that sort of thing. And that is one thing that I think the Wii U and the Switch are able to offer to me personally, just to have the convenience of just being able to see games on the screen itself, and just to see condensed versions of these big budget HD adventures. Now they're on the tip of your hands and you can take them around with you anywhere. I just find something really adorable about that. That's one of my favorite aesthetics, gaming aesthetics in life. I don't even mind that I can't take my Wii U everywhere, because I'm not even someone who really goes out too often. The only times I go out are if I absolutely need to go out, and the times when I do need to use my Nintendo Switch are either when I don't have anything else occupied for me to do. So if I'm on a bus ride, then of course I'll just take it out if I want to. Or if I'm with friends around and we just want to play some co-op games, or I just want to show them a cool game or a cool thing I learned in like Mario Odyssey or Breath of the Wild, so I just use that for my Switch. But for everything else, I'm otherwise stuck in my own household. I feel like a Disney princess who's stuck in their own castle. So I don't really mind, just being stuck to the home to be able to play Wii U games like this. I'd much rather play Wii U games on the off-TV play over here than on a TV. And the asymmetric games, some of them are neat, some of them are hit and miss. I really, in general, don't care too much about them. It's the Wii U's ability to just have games with you on your hands, rather than on a big screen TV where you have to dedicate a lot of time and effort. That's what really appeals to me. That appeals to me about the Nintendo Switch, but mainly the Wii U. And this video was purely about why I still play it and why I think it is a good complement with the Nintendo Switch, and why I don't feel it is a replacement or a dust collector or things like that. So yeah, this was pretty much a vlog, one of the first that I'm going to be doing for aesthetic analysis. I want to cover a lot more games, mainly aesthetics that I personally feel for those, because to me aesthetics are much more than just what you see and what you hear, less from the technical stuff. I want to really get from a personal standpoint, because I don't think that a lot of people, or myself for that matter, I don't think I do a good job of being able to explain what I see. I can tell you what I think, and what I think is really based on what I experience from other people's words. So I can twist and turn that to tell you what I think, but being able to tell you what I see for my own eyes is something I feel that I personally need to work on. So I'm going to be using these videos as a sort of training for that sort of thing, to be able to build my aesthetic and tell you the types of games that really speak to me from an emotional standpoint, and just to be able to express that on camera. And also, this is the first time I've been in camera for a while, and yes, I do dress in white all the time. So I hope you all take care. Good luck in whatever you're doing. I know most of my friends are in exam period and stuff like that. I am also in exam period, so I'm pretty much doing this as like a stress reliever. So I hope you all take care, and that's pretty much it. This has been Matt Who Crosses the Line. This has been Aesthetic Analysis, the vlog version. See you later.